Ladies, let's begin with a reality that might hurt, but it's one you need to hear. There are men who will come into your life, smile at you, compliment you, possibly even make you feel like you are on top of the world, and then gradually chip away at your energy, time, and self-esteem. I understand that it's difficult to face, but it's important. Here's the good news. You are not powerless. In today's video, I will provide insight into such behaviors and what they really are. You will learn how to tell when a man is using you so you can regain your time, vitality, and heart. And let's be clear, not all men who disappoint you do it purposefully. Sometimes they act out of self-interest or a lack of maturity, but the impact is the same. So if you have wondered, is he really into me or is he simply keeping me around for convenience? You are in the right place. Let's break down the warning signs and behaviors of a man who is using you, beginning with the most common one. Behavior number 1. He only invests if it benefits him. Have you discovered that his effort tends to fluctuate depending on what he needs from you? Perhaps he's particularly charming when he wants emotional support, intimacy, or assistance, but when you need him, he's nowhere to be found. That is not just inconsiderate, it's a demonstrable behavioral pattern grounded in what psychologists call transactional relationships. A transactional relationship develops when one individual engages only when there's something beneficial to be gained. For men who show such behaviors, their interest in you is not about love or connection. It's about the payoff. Imagine this. Does he disappear immediately after he gets what he wants? Does he simply check in wherever he is seeking validation or assistance? These are signs that his concentration is more on extracting value than developing a connection. What you can do. Begin tracking the dynamics of your interactions. Are his moments of affection usually tied to selfish gain? Flip the script. Next time he comes to you, shift the focus to your needs. If he pulls away, that's your confirmation. Research indicates that healthy relationships are founded on reciprocation, a mutual exchange of caring and effort. If his contribution is purely conditional, it's high time to consider what you're contributing and why. Behavior number 2. He keeps you guessing about your status. One day he's holding your hand and having conversations about the future. The next, he's avoiding questions about commitment or where this is heading. This is a hallmark of mental ambiguity, and it's not just irritating, it's manipulative. According to research on attachment theory, those who dodge commitment usually develop a cycle of proximity and distance to keep control. It keeps you hooked, continually wondering where you stand and desperate for clarity that never happens. The science behind it. This behavior causes what's popularly known as irregular reinforcement, a psychological notion where unpredictable rewards leave you clinging tighter to the relationship, even if it's not rewarding. What you can do. Stop tolerating ambiguity. A man who appreciates you will explain his objectives plainly. Ask simple questions and pay attention to his actions more than his words. Perhaps it is not a response, it's a delay strategy. Remember that consistency is the foundation of real love. If he's keeping you in the dark, he's definitely benefiting from your perplexity. This is a behavior that commonly flies under the radar since it can manifest in various ways. A man who is using you will avoid taking responsibility emotionally or financially when it matters most. The emotional disconnection. Let us begin with the emotional aspects. He wants you to be his cheerleader and his support structure, but when you express your thoughts, doubts, or vulnerabilities, he shuts down. Perhaps he changes the topic, diminishes your emotions, or even worse, condemns you for being too much. This is not just selfish, it's emotionally draining. Research on emotional labor has indicated that relationships flourish when both partners listen intently and understand each other. If he's abandoning you to do all the emotionally challenging tasks, that's a red flag. The financial dynamic. Now let's discuss money. While each relationship has its particular financial dynamics, a man who is using you will usually transfer the responsibility onto you. Perhaps he forgets his wallet, lets you foot bills, or simply borrows money with no plan of paying it back. What this reveals about him. Such behaviors reveal a lack of commitment and long-term investment. They symbolize a person who considers you a convenience, not a partner. What you can do. Emotionally, pay close attention to whether he's ready to engage in uncomfortable conversation or ignores your concerns. Successful relationships are founded on reciprocal emotional support, not one-sided dependency. Financially, set limits. If you notice tendencies of financial irresponsibility, confront them right away. A man who appreciates you will respect those limits. Remember that it's not about if he makes more or less money. It's about if he's contributing equally and showing respect for your shared effort. Behavior number 5. He disregards your emotional needs. If you're in a relationship with somebody, your emotional well-being should never feel like a one-way street. A man who is using you can usually disregard or completely ignore your emotional needs. What does this look like? Perhaps he is wonderful at talking about his challenges but falls silent when you bring up yours. Or maybe he avoids talking about anything too deep, since it makes him very uncomfortable. Whichever the circumstance, his emotional unavailability makes you feel neglected and ignored. Why does this happen? Studies in relationships indicate that emotional reciprocity is the foundation of connection. If one partner continuously disregards the other partner's emotional needs, it results in an imbalance that destroys trust and intimacy. How to spot it? Does he diminish or invalidate your feelings with statements like, "You're overreacting," or "Why are you so sensitive?" Is he there during your good times but absent throughout your times of difficulty? Does he lack interest in your opinions, ambitions, and experiences? What you can do? Begin by stating your emotional needs. Use I phrases, for example, "I feel ignored whenever I share my concerns," to express your thoughts without sounding accusatory. If he's reluctant or unable to meet you halfway, that is an obvious sign that he is not invested in you emotionally. Women, let's pause here for a bit. Such behaviors could feel challenging to recognize, particularly if they get close to home. But remember this: understanding is the initial step towards strength. Each of these signs, whether subtle or obvious, points to a person who is not appreciating you the way you deserve. The final critical behavior. He causes more confusion than clarity. Let me ask you this: when you think of your relationship, do you feel tranquility, or do you feel like walking through darkness? A man who is using you flourishes in confusion, since it keeps you stuck questioning yourself and emotionally tied to him. What confusion feels like? He is hot and cold. For a moment, he is friendly and attentive. The next, he's distant and difficult to reach. His words and deeds don't align. He claims he cares about you, but he doesn't show up when it is important. He avoids open conversations concerning the future, making you guess where you stand. Why does he do it? Confusion is a powerful instrument of control. Psychologists are referring to this as cognitive dissonance, a situation where conflicting information creates mental stress. This stress makes you cling to the minor positive moments as proof that the relationship is worth it, even though the bigger picture indicates a different story. What you can do. Clarity is mandatory in a good relationship. Here's how to reclaim your power. 1. Demand honesty. Ask for clear responses about his objectives and future intentions. If he evades or gives you unclear answers, take it as the response that you need. 2. Trust trends, not promises. Look at the consistency of his actions, not only his words. Promises mean absolutely nothing if they are not supported by action. 3. Establish a limitation. If the relationship feels sluggish, give yourself a personal plan to see development. If nothing changes, it's high time to say goodbye. Confusion keeps you tied to doubt. Clarity sets you free. How to break free from a toxic relationship. Now that we've covered the behaviors, let's discuss what you can do if you notice these tendencies in your relationship. The reality is that breaking free is not easy, particularly when emotions and past memories are involved. But it's possible and important for your peace of mind and self-worth. Step 1. Accept reality. Denial is the first obstacle. It's easy to believe his excuses or cling to hope that he will change, but ignoring the reality simply lengthens your agony. Write down whatever actions you've seen and how they have made you feel. Seeing things in black and white may be a dramatic wake-up call. Step 2. Shift the attention to yourself. If you are caught up in someone else's behavior, it's easy to lose sight of your own needs. Take time to re-engage with yourself. Reconsider your values. What do you really want in a partner and relationship? Indulge in self-care and associate with friends, hobbies, and activities that give you happiness and fulfillment. Remember that the energy you're spending trying to fix him may be put toward building the life you want. Step 3. Set clear boundaries. Boundaries are not about hurting him. They're more about protecting you. Say what you will and will not tolerate. For instance, I need consistency in our conversation. I won't continue a relationship when my needs are neglected. If he respects your boundaries, wonderful. If he does not, that tells you all you need to know. Step 4. Seek help. You don't have to experience this alone. Talk to trustworthy friends, relatives, or a therapy professional to process your emotions and gain insight. Occasionally, an outside view may enable you to see something you've been too close to understand. Step 5. Let go with grace. Saying goodbye is not about winning or losing. It's about regaining your time, energy, and self-esteem. If you decide to walk away, tell yourself that you're making room for something greater. The honest truth about healthy relationships. Let's take a moment to visualize what a good relationship looks like. It's not about perfection, but about dedication, respect, and reciprocation. A man who genuinely appreciates you will show up regularly even when life gets difficult. Prioritize transparent and honest communication. Support your progress and celebrate your achievements. Listen to your concerns and collaborate with you on fixing them. In a good relationship, you'll feel grounded, not anxious, cherished, not confused, valued, not used. Empowerment begins with you. Women, here's the takeaway. You need a relationship where you're appreciated, valued, and cherished. If a man displays behaviors that devalue your worth, it's not your duty to mend him. It's your duty to protect your tranquility. Trust your gut, pay close attention to trends, and most significantly, never settle for breadcrumbs when you deserve a whole feast.